Oh, what's up, everyone? This is always 400 podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back.
We out here.
There's the horn of
There's the
success.
Horn means go.
Folks,
I don't know what I did.
we had a great intro. That's what you did. Y'all know. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back to the Producer Lounge. This is our show, our podcast, where three homie producers sit down, sometimes with a guest. This week we have beautiful Florence.
Hey, Florence.
Majestic.
And yeah, we just talk about music production and stuff. That's the whole show. We're three electronic music producers. We've done other things, played instruments, been in bands, done a whole bunch of stuff, but we've been producing for years now.
We've been around the block a little bit.
Basically, this is what we would be doing in our kitchen right now.
Yeah.
So we thought, why not broadcast it?
Yeah.
Or should I say, podcast it?
Nice.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
Big shout out, Language of Royalty for that follow, and Vapor Cruise for
Welcome
a
to the
follow
party,
2 days
fellas.
ago.
Oh,
Big
sheesh.
shout out. We don't promote the show worth shit, so word of mouth is how you hear about us. So big ups to everybody sharing the word and
The good word.
Get word out there about Always 400. We're here to
We heard a lot
help
about
ourselves
the good
grow.
word last week.
Yeah. Yes, we
It's
did.
true. And we want to grow with you guys and help you guys grow too. So that's why we're here. You know?
That's right.
Sometimes we don't always talk about music production, though.
Yeah.
Sometimes it goes off into a philosophical route about art. Sometimes it goes off on a philosophical route about Modelo,
Sure.
which is our sponsor for the week.
Or sometimes we're just dumb as shit. And that's always fun, too. We have
Yeah,
our
we made
moments.
plenty of mistakes, too, on this pod where we've learned
Yeah.
and grown.
Yeah, we learned.
Yeah, look at us developing, maturing.
Also,
That's right.
I just want to say big ups to our co-host Dave here. He now is a certified celebrity. He has pink shaded glasses,
It's true.
which automatically signifies celebrity status.
Yeah.
Obviously, as we
Look
all
at
know.
how steezy it looks. I mean, come on.
I mean, yeah. How would if he came up to you and was like, "Give me a tall white mocha latte," you would obviously be slightly flustered because of the pink.
Right, right.
Like the steez that you need.
I mean, these, you look at them and you're like, he had those custom made.
And you did.
Who does that?
Those must be thousands of dollars.
Celebrities.
You're right.
Celebrities.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course.
Yeah.
Celebrities get custom,
Yeah.
which is also why we have good old Florence
Yeah.
here. Let's
Yeah.
give a
Original Armani.
big shout out to Original Armani here. He
It is an original
Florence.
Armani.
He saw the pod from France or from
Italy.
Italy.
It's okay.
It's close.
Yeah.
It's like Colorado and Kansas. It's
Yeah.
pretty close.
They both have an A.
And he was like, "Yo, I like your show so much. Let me send you some art." So he sent us this original, one of a kind Armani. Legend
Beautiful.
has it he fought this wolf in the dead of winter in the Alps.
He said it was huge. He said it
Yeah,
was the biggest
this
wolf
is-
he's ever seen.
This is 5.5 feet tall, on all fours.
Yeah.
That's a big wolf.
That's a big old
That is
wolf.
A big wolf.
That's
Yeah.
a big old wolf.
The biggest wolf.
So
And he lived to tell the tale.
Yep.
And now he makes art.
he was able
based on that
to
experience.
grapple with it enough to memorize its figure.
Yeah.
Anyways,
We won't say how it ended, but
no,
it was gruesome.
it was very gruesome.
I feel like we need a Florence
It's not
emote now.
Twitch appropriate.
We might need a Florence emote.
Dude,
a little
if-
woof, a
if-
little woof emote.
Yeah, if he becomes a staple in the pod.
I have nothing against this at all.
No,
Yeah, let's go.
we should almost all have woof shirts too. As far as I know, only Dave's the one with woof shirts.
Yeah, I don't have any wolves.
Do you guys like wolves or what? Is Florence here to stay? Let us know in the chat below.
That's right.
Everybody knows wolves and making beats have so much in common.
They do. I mean,
What do they have in common?
lone wolf.
Lone
Like the
wolf.
producer, I would say 7 times out of 10 is a lone wolf.
He's a
Which-
lone wolf.
Not if you're a smart producer, that doesn't last forever. You find friends.
Yeah, you
want
wanna find a
group
pack.
It. Yeah, you grab a pack. Yeah,
You
for
get the
strength.
pack.
Yeah, you don't want to be the lone
No,
wolf forever.
but you kind of need to start out sometimes lone wolfy because you're alone in your ideas. You're the only one. None of your friends, maybe one or two of them, is like, oh, I'll also produce, and they fall off real quick.
Right.
Like there's usually one guy who's just fucking sticking it through.
Shout out to those people.
And you're the
lone
Florence.
wolf.
You're the Florence of the group.
And it is, though, at a certain point, you do need to find a pack. That's a
Yeah.
good thing to kind of drive home is, guys, you got to find producer friends. It's really important.
Yep.
It's more important than you
Run
think.
around in your pack and just strategically kill beats. You know?
He's got a fucking point.
You're going out there, you're wandering around the landscapes, and you're looking for the beats.
Yep.
And when you see those, you
Pounce.
have to pounce. Yes. And you got to be smart about it. You got to take it from each side.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to communicate.
That's right.
You got to collaborate and listen.
Collaborate
no,
and listen.
Excuse me. It's pretty imperative that you find a crew of homies that are like-minded. There's the beer salt.
You.
What?
Not a fan.
Out of your mind. Yeah, that was a fair boo. Shout out beer salts. It's really important to find a
Bueno.
crew. Like my skill level and my drive, I guess, and competitive spirit helped me so much. Like when I just found you, because before I even knew Dave, I was with one homie, and he had showed me how to produce. I was with another homie for like 2 months at the very beginning. That's irrelevant. We just played WoW. Shout out Scotty G. He's a good
Scotty G.
He's a good guy. But me and my homie would collaborate and work on stuff, but it was everywhere. It was all over the map.
Oh,
There was
I'm
no
sure.
point
Yeah.
to anything. It was just
Yeah.
a shit show.
Yeah.
And then once I met you and heard one of your tracks, I was like, oh shit, he's like very purposeful, like with what he's making. And just that alone, just having somebody you can meet and be like acquaintances with who's also a producer somewhere around your level,
Right.
whether it's a little bit below, a little bit above, at the same level, like doesn't really matter. It's huge. It is huge. Like just being able, and then if you can like live with some of these people, which is like another level, you come home and the house is just rumbling because everybody's working on beats, and you like peek in and you're like, oh, that's fire, and then you're like stoked to go work on your own shit,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
stoked for them to come down, like come check out this beat, and you help each other constantly because you're all competitive, so you're not going to be like, yeah, it's fine, dude. No, you're going to be like, this part's cool, but none of it communicates. It's really fucking weird. And you're like, okay, yeah, I need to like do a little bit of figuring that out or
Right.
whatever. Like it's to this day that happened literally 2 hours ago. So happens all the time and it's healthy as fuck. What's up, generic pixie, by the way?
Subgeneric.
Good to have you back.
Yeah, it's also really interesting when you can find friends who are trying to do the music artistic thing and they make a different genre than you. Because not only does it like open you up to this new world of music, even if you like hate that world. Not that I like hated house music, but I just like didn't listen to house music at all before I met you
Right,
guys.
Right.
And then now, like, I fucking love it. You know, after hearing so much and like making a little bit and just like exploring that world, it just having other people
You
that have a
understand
different
it a little
perspective.
bit better.
Yeah,
Right.
totally.
Yeah.
It's a super healthy thing. Although
Yeah.
it is sick, because like with you guys, I don't think you were making house music at the time, but you kind of somehow
no, we were
like
still in the band.
yeah, you're in the band thing.
Yeah.
And then somehow it just came together that you guys were both just like fucking pumped on house music and went for that thing. And that's super cool. Like if you do happen to find someone who's like also doing the thing you're doing, that can be really healthy, of course, but
Right.
Totally.
Yeah, if it's like natural and organic and you're like, yo, we both make the same shit. Why don't we just fucking make a thing together?
yeah, let's do
You
a
know,
thing.
like it's not going to stop you from making your own shit. Like whatever. But having a duo is pretty nice, folks. It's pretty slick. I like it a lot.
Yeah. It's a tough one.
Yeah,
You got to
it's not
find someone that
necessarily
you
easier.
want to do that with.
Yeah.
That's the tricky part. Like,
It's just like a band in that fact.
Yep.
But
less people to
and
deal with.
duo producers,
duo.
and the way we do it is a little unique, as I've found, as opposed
Right.
to other duos,
Right.
where they're constantly just like together in the same studio working on things. That's not how we do it. We have 2 separate studios. We just both write house music, and then we're both like, "Is this cool? Is this cool?" And we're like, "Cool." There's another
Yeah,
track.
we're also like just talking about shit and listening to shit that's similar in our daily lives.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we have an idea of how to kind of tailor to the thing that we're making, because we've talked all about what it is that we're trying to make.
Right.
Intention.
Intention. We've been talking about this for
Just
weeks,
keeps
guys.
coming up. Yeah, it's so important though. It's
Yeah.
fucking so goddamn important.
Massive.
I had this is totally off topic, but also on topic. I had a dream the other night.
Is it hot topic?
No, it's a hot topic. I don't have dreams that often, and this one was like most dreams. It was just like the idea was still there when I woke up. I had nothing else other than the idea. Almost like I just thought of it when I woke up, but I assumed it was a dream. You know, kind of thing. You're like, where did this come from? I must have been dreaming about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the thought of sometimes on the pod, like with the intent thing, it's like we're pastors at a church or some shit, and we're like, this next, like, what do they call it? Series of weeks. We're going to do a series on this chapter of the Bible or whatever. Like,
we're
gonna do
doing
a-
sermons
Right.
about music production
So
every week.
We're going to do a series on intent and how you can use it artistically or whatever. It's just fucking made me
We've been preparing
giggle.
for months, and
Yeah.
I pray that the Lord will speak to you in
Hallelujah.
these next coming weeks.
Thank you, Brother Dave.
Speaking of new arrivals,
Goddamn right.
thank you for joining the Church of Music
Shit.
Production. Ale Music. I hope I'm pronouncing
You
that
say
right.
howdy? What's
Is that-
up? Howdy, partner?
Is that an EHL and then a music, or is that an I? Let me know in the chat there. Welcome to the show.
We have special guest Florence the Wolf
L
tonight.
music.
Yeah, this dude's been producing for like 30 years or something. So
It is an L. I said it right.
That's great. That's great. I like it. Like loser.
L like
L music.
long.
length.
You know?
L like
Hey.
You know what I'm talking about?
L like length.
Like spaghetti.
L long. Yeah, long spaghetti. Of course.
Yeah.
long spaghetti.
Of course.
More of a shells guy, but no.
Dang. Are
That's
you?
that's the other podcast.
I didn't know that. Are you
I
though?
am. Yeah,
Oh.
totally.
Like
Shells are my
shells,
shit.
shells specifically shells, not like just smaller pasta.
Shells specifically.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'll do that.
And I
next
mean,
time
pretty
we do
much all
pasta.
all
I
pasta.
fucking love shells too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck. Why have we not been doing this?
I
Damn
don't
it.
know. I love shells.
Yeah, shells are sick. I mean, all pasta's dope, but shells
I think
just
that's-
hit different.
Yeah, put your favorite pasta type in the chat.
100% put it in the chat.
I'm going to go with the shells myself.
Yes. Oh
I'm-
my God. We need
Actually,
to do
I like them
shells
both,
more.
but my favorite in non-length pasta is farfalle. The like
Which ones are those?
the bow tie or the
Oh, bow tie.
butterfly. I fucking love those. Those are sick. The mini farfalle is dope.
Those are fun.
And then when it comes to stringy angel hair, like it's hard to beat a good angel hair. Like it's hard to make it really good at home, but when you
With
go to a
nice
place,
shrimp. And like
except for I can't
a
really do
light
shrimp, but
sauce.
yeah, a
Yeah.
light sauce is key with angel hair.
Oh my God.
Angel hair worst.
angel hair.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, you cooking it too
Who said
long,
that?
my
Was this
dude.
new guy?
Isn't farfalle fucking
Dude. That's how you pop on a stream your first time and get banned instantly.
Probably the shells is what he's talking about.
Oh yeah, maybe is
Conchigli.
like is that like conchigliere?
Conchigliere.
Fucking
Worthy cause to be
shells,
banned.
bruh.
I'm going out with honor, boys.
You are correct.
Very
Shells
nice.
are
Very nice.
How do you say
You
it?
know your pasta.
conchigli.
I know, right?
You know your pasta generic.
Yeah, I never knew that was the word. Dad, I just want some conchigli
Shells.
pasta
It
tonight.
says shells in the store even. Like on the box.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, these people can't pronounce this.
Yeah,
Let's just call it shells.
They're never
It's-
going to remember that.
I
They'll
mean,
remember shells.
to
This
be
is
fair-
America.
Yeah, to be fair,
We
it's
call
a
the
different
things.
language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if someone showed me a Chinese dish, they'd be like, why couldn't you pronounce that? Like, because I don't know how to read it.
It's
Like,
called
I'm sorry.
orange chicken. Sesame chicken.
I thought it was Kung Pao.
Um,
Worthy
So-
cause to be banned. I'm not going to ban you for hating angel hair. It's fine.
I mean,
Don't
I
worry about
might. You better watch yourself. Watch yourself.
We get we get taught 3 languages in school. Is that like
Anyway.
English, Spanish, and code?
It's still
All
8
right,
moves
good,
on.
Good job, generic. You're so great with your many languages that you can speak.
We're just shitting on
No,
everyone
we
in
love you,
chat tonight.
generic.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, crew. We're sorry. We love you.
Your school system is better. All right.
Where are you from, generic? Are
Without
you
a
not from
doubt.
here? You're not from Denver, Colorado?
Say well. I guess we got languages.
Yeah.
I took Spanish in high school.
yeah, I took Spanish.
Took 2 years.
Oh.
I also took French.
Ireland.
He's from
Oh.
Ireland. I can't, Irish is so hard.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna.
I wish I could do it.
No.
I'm working on my
I can
Irish.
go across the bay, but I can't do Irish.
That's okay.
Right, exactly. I can do British accent, but I can't. No, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. You know what, guys? We'll
Do
practice.
some Eventually.
Hey,
We're gonna be talking about
Oi!
some beats tonight. No, that one felt more
I'm sorry,
Australian.
generic.
That felt like shitty Australian with a hint of New Zealand. It's not good.
Speaking of New Zealand, does anybody have a tip of the week?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I don't.
Florence.
Florence?
Nope. Okay.
Okay. Whatever. That's okay, Florence. I mean, he said he did, but I guess not.
He just gives it a fart.
So, Dave,
Oh.
it's up to you.
Tip of the week.
Tip of the week.
I could tip of the week.
Oh.
I have
good.
a super generic one.
You
But
want to
yeah.
throw your tip into the week?
Or we got generic in the chat, so might as well.
Oh.
We've spoken about it before on this pod. And Ghost House, shout out Ghost House, was bringing it up on his stream a lot last night, listening to 2 submissions. And I was like, man, it just needs to be brought up again. Saturators are your friend. Okay, folks? I remember when I was starting out producing, I was scared of saturating things. There was a long time, up to a year, if not more, where I was terrified of saturators. Like, I would use a compressor before I used a saturator, and I didn't know how compressors worked. So, that being said, just it's if you need something a little more robust, like, it's totally okay to throw a saturator on there and only turn the gain up by 1. Like, a saturator is not a one-trick pony. It's not just you throw it on there and you just store it. Like, no, it's got every dial is a different mood. So every song is going to use it a little bit differently. You're going to use it in a case-by-case basis.
Mm-hmm.
But 9 times out of 10, I will use a saturator on everything. Everything. Like, it's very rare that I pull something in or make something that I'm like, just needs to be compressed.
It's already saturated.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
the only thing that I would say that would limit this is if I brought in a sound that's really simple, like it's a little bleep bloop, and all I got to do is EQ out some lows and then clip it. Because the clipper is going to add a little bit of saturation.
Might as well be saturating it at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
It's basically the same thing. I just know that my peaks are where they are.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason I would do that.
Nice and controlled.
But even
and
then,
tight.
I would probably throw a saturator on before and then compress and then limit and
Yeah.
then compress again.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's just a little bleep bloop, like, I'm just going to make sure the lawn is mowed.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a saturator is your friend. And don't be scared of it also, like, on the master. Like, I'm not saying crank the overdrive on your master, but if you just have, like, if you work in Ableton, that's saturator, throw that. Just no pushing on the gain at all. Just throwing it full wet on the master as it is will automatically saturate the sound.
Mm-hmm.
So it's already a good place to start.
Tighten everything up just a
right. If you're looking for a little bit of glue and sauce on the whole mix, it's not a bad way to go. And if shit starts going wily, then just get rid of it and maybe turn stuff down going into it. Because that's the nice thing about a saturator is half the fun is the saturator itself. The other half the fun is your input signal and how loud it's headed into the saturator.
Oh,
right.
Game changer when we figured that shit out. Oh my God.
The input is huge because you could have one sound and just start fucking around with how hard it's slamming into that saturator, and you're going to get millions of different tones. And you can take that a step further and do it with an EQ where you're like, I'm only going to send the fundamental really hot into the saturator, or I'm going to only send the mids into the saturator really hot, which is super fun.
Yeah.
And it can be used really well in mixing, and it can be used really well in just making fun sounds.
Yeah, creatively, you can play with that. Like that's one of John's whole things is just like boosting a fundamental into an amp or a saturator or distortion and like making it wobble and do weird dynamic shit.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the tones are just crazy from there.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, the saturator is
Yeah, I like to think of it like the early stages for me were always, how can I make this louder? It just is never loud enough.
It's never loud enough.
I
in the
cannot get
beginning.
something to be loud enough. Why isn't it loud? And one thing that's nice about some saturation is you're basically giving yourself more harmonic character for the sound that you're putting it on without increasing the volume necessarily. Well, especially if you're clipping on some level, you're just adding harmonics. And you're adding harmonics that make sense to the sound. It's also why you want to make sure you're not saturating without oversampling. You want to oversample all the time because otherwise you're just giving yourself weird harmonics if you don't oversample. But yeah, I always think of it as like raising the like floor of the sound a little bit.
Yo, L Music, thanks for the follow.
What's up, G-Fang?
What's up, buddy?
Let's go.
Fuck yeah.
Also, what's
Vapor
up, Vapor
Cruise.
Cruise? Saturators are.
First time
Nice.
chatter. Welcome to the party, buddy.
Thanks for the follow earlier, too. We saw you.
We saw that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, saturators are bread and butter as far as I'm concerned. Like it's one of the four main things I use. It's saturator, and not in this order. Saturator, EQ, compressors, and limiters. And by limiters, I mean clippers.
Clippers.
Just
Gotta get clipping. Gotta clip the
you
lawn.
gotta get clipping.
I loved your lawn analogy a bit ago. That was so
you
good.
gotta cut the lawn.
Gotta cut the
Just
lawn.
gotta cut the lawn. Like
Oh yeah. Because all the weird peaks that you get otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're bad.
It's
just
so
real
perfect.
bad.
right. Just cut the lawn.
Cut the lawn.
Yeah. You're really going to see them
Yeah. And
when the rest of the lawn's mowed and there's just like a fucking tuft
right. So
sticking up.
here's a real world example of this. I was telling you this earlier. I was listening to some house tracks in the car, and there were certain points in one of the tracks where when the clap was playing on its own,
Commercial house music.
yeah, like released house music, the clap was like prominent as fuck in like the beginning and the bridge, and I was like, oh, okay, it's a loud clap. And then everything comes in for like the drop or the groove or whatever, and the clap is immediately tucked underneath everything. All you hear is bass. Like everything is just getting pushed out of the way.
Just got so drowned out.
Right. And that is a case of not properly treating that clap with compression and saturating and saturation before it groups up with everything else. So now when the limiter has nothing to limit but the clap is just going to be loud as fuck because it's not been compressed down to this rigid, you're only allowed to get this loud and you're only allowed to get this quiet. And so it stays in this little zone. If you don't do that well enough, you'll know because the clap will just start screaming out of the mix when it's alone.
Yeah.
And
it can be hard to notice sometimes.
It can.
If
No,
you're
for sure.
if you're not paying too close attention, I'll usually hear it when I'm listening back at some point where I'm like, oh, the fucking clap just hit me like right in the face. And I'm like, fuck.
Right.
I was hearing it normal a second ago, and then it was just like, it's the only thing that happens in that one moment.
Yeah.
You know? What do you do? What do you do to fix that?
What do I do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I see that 9 times out of 10 when I look at the track, oh, it's just a clap. Like there's literally nothing else on the track. I haven't EQ'd, I haven't compressed, I haven't done anything. And I'm like, oh, well, there's the problem. So I'll usually start with an EQ. I'll cut out any lows so I know that I'm just working with, 500 and above. I might do a little more treatment on that EQ depending on the clap. For example, what we talked about a week ago or 2 weeks ago with the cutting out to 4K and boosting up like the 11K kind of thing, just to clear it up. And then right after the EQ, we'll go a saturator. And that I'll kind of toy with, but most of the time I'll kind of push it a little hard right until I hear the top end.
A clap.
Yeah.
You got to push that thing in
Right.
a clipper hard, right?
You basically, I push it on the saturator till I start hearing the top end start to break and get kind of just turns into white noise, and then I'll dial it back till I don't hear that anymore. And usually it's still fairly saturated, but I know we're far enough away from its peak that I can then compress and limit or clip, and I'll still be fine.
Right.
In terms of its clarity of sound. So you got that saturator, and this whole time I'm not raising the volume. I'm keeping it stagnant. Let's say it's at 0. It's just hitting 0 with everything else, which is too loud for any song. If your clap is at 0, it's too loud.
Yep.
And then I will compress. It's a 4 to 1 on any drums for me most of the time. I'll just start there. And then I'll basically just kind of squash it 4 dB or so. Like I'm not doing anything specific with the compressor other than just making sure it has some compression happening, because I don't want it to be as transient. I want a little more of a block, not totally, but just a little bit more squished heading into my clipper or limiter, because then my clipper / limiter doesn't have to work as hard.
Yeah.
It's all, and the point of the saturator too kind of is so the compressor doesn't have to work as hard. They're all kind of slow steps of slightly different color to get it to where I want it to be. So after the compressor, I'll clip it or limit it, not substantially, just to the point where, again, where I start hearing it break, and then I'll dial it back to a point where I'm satisfied with its shape almost, its shape and its sonic quality. And then I will listen to it in the mix with everything. Now that I know it has its, for lack of a better word, armor against the master limiter, like it's now been buffeted and compressed so it can handle being thrown against the limiter. Yeah. And like it went from looking like this little clap, like your typical clap you bring into like this nice little like fat boy with a little tail on it. And then I basically sit there with it in the mix, and I'll turn it all the way down, and then I'll bring it up to where I think it's like okay, and then I'll keep pushing it louder until I'm like that it's obviously too loud, like it's uncomfortably loud, and then I'll work it back down till I'm satisfied, and that's usually where it'll stay until the last couple mixes. I might change it, but and then if you do that and then listen to it while it's alone, magically it stays at the exact same dB the whole song.
The whole song, yeah.
Right,
And
but
it doesn't have any issues.
Okay, so but then when the kick hits at the same time, inevitably it's going to be like quieter. No.
It should be fine as long as it doesn't have anything on the bottom end that's going to interfere with the main thump of the kick. And the kick usually just has a little tick on it, so it's adding a little bit to the clap. But the whole time...
It's a balance thing at that point.
Right. The whole time I'm adjusting the volume...
That's fair.
...on the clap right at the end, I'm looking at my drums limiter or some kind of monitoring device on my drum channel and or master, because your kick's going to come up, and then you'll see the kick and clap. And this is on house or techno, anything where you have your click or your kick and then your kick and clap happening together.
Right.
The kick and clap is going to jet out really high.
Right.
But I'll be surprised every time how much I can turn the kick down till it's only peaking like 2 more dB than the kick alone. And then
Turn the snare down?
Yeah, and that's enough for me. If the kick and snare is 2 dB louder than the kick itself, that's generally pretty good.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if you want more presence out of that clap, all you got to do is go back to the EQ or throw an EQ before that last clipper on that snare or clap channel and just boost like 9K. Just boost a little bit of the very top crystally kind of things,
yeah,
and the presence
sure.
just pops out, and you're like, oh, now it's loud enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did you have something to add? Because I had
Go
a
for
question kind of. Okay. So, yeah, you'll have your like kick at like whatever here and your snare and like 2 dB higher or whatever with the kick.
With the kick. Yeah.
So let's say you had like Fab Pro L on the master. Do your guys' kick and snare hit 0? Because I've heard a lot of people say that they'll go for 0.
It depends on the track. I've like one of the more recent tracks that's almost fully mixed. It's like an older track that I've been slowly mixing over time. The kick alone won't hit it. It's like a decibel below. But the kick and clap together will knock the final limiter like a -1.
That's when it just ceilings.
Yeah, and then when the vocal comes in, the vocal will hit the limiter like 3 to 5. But that's understandable because the vocal is sitting on top of everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes in, it kind of just
clashes with all
Right.
the other frequency
But
content.
it usually doesn't have a problem.
Yeah.
You know, it's usually not a big
That
issue.
makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. I think mine usually hits the limiter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
going right
mine
up.
is hitting limiters. It's
Yeah.
just not hitting that very last one, like on its way out the
Yeah.
door.
Yeah.
And it might not be hitting the one before that, but on the kick channel, there's like a limiter it's slamming into, and then on the drums channel, there's a limiter it's
Yeah,
slamming
it's all
into.
nice and
The
tight
drums
before.
are getting limited hardcore
Yeah.
on the way to the master.
And it depends again. Like if it's not hitting the master and I'm at -8 LUFS, I don't need it to hit the master. If it's not
Sure.
hitting the master and I'm at -10, I'm gonna push it. I'm gonna push that kick drum into it until I'm -8, and then I'm like, okay, I guess the kick's hitting the limiter now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's
yeah.
it's such a song to song basis, just
Right.
at this point. But it's generally the same, I guess. I don't know. It's rough out here, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the same every time.
Right.
Do you hit your limiter with the kick?
On the master? Yeah. I do just like base it off the song itself. Like I'm not trying to go to 0, but pretty much all my songs, they slam it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what freaked me out for a sec. Cause,
Kind of fair.
Yeah, right. You said don't have your snares hit 0. And at first, like I was like, oh my God, on my last 2 releases, my snares were literally hitting the limiter. But then I realized you were kind of talking more about like mixed stage.
Right,
You're like,
and I'm
don't start
talking
it at
about,
fucking
like,
At
0.
the track level.
Yeah, at the track level. Like if you just solo,
Don't come in
and,
super hot.
and specifically with house. Like if your clap is always or 80% of the time in the track hitting with the kick, then when you solo the clap, it shouldn't hit 0. If it's already hitting 0 every time the kick and clap hit, yeah, you're gonna break everyone's
Yeah, your
eardrums.
dude's
annihilates.
straight through. That's
Yeah.
why you got all those limiters on the
Yeah.
groups of things.
Right, and all the clippers and things because
Yeah.
I'm trying to get those. And who was it? Vapor Cruise said claps usually have pretty loose transients too. So most of the time, the transients of the kick and clap don't clash too much, and that's fair because a lot of time a clap is like. But if you look at like a 707 clap or a 909, there's still some transient, and then you have like some things happening. But you can get it from that to this fucking block, and then a tail, and then you've got him dialed in because he's not going to peak randomly. He's going to stay at that volume until he falls. And the nice thing, and we've brought this up before about clippers and high end, like a clap, you can clip the living fuck out of it
Yeah,
before
it's
you
insane.
hear any audible distortion.
Yeah, basically high-endy things have an easier time taking clipping.
Right, because there's already a bunch of info up there, so any kind of distortion you're hearing is just white noise that blends in with whatever's happening up there. So you can get those boys pretty flat. Therefore, you're allowed to kind of push them a little bit more, but you don't have to because they're so loud. That's why it shouldn't hit 0.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Did you guys see Generic's little comment? Never seen anyone do this, so this is pretty fun. But he says he vocodes his kick with cymbals. Vocoding your kick with a cymbal. I've never seen anyone do that. Does it create like a weird tone, or are you doing that to add high end or something?
With like a low, dry, wet or something, it could easily act almost like a convolution reverb or something like that. Or
I could
you
see
get
that.
room out of it or something.
right, some kind of body.
Yeah, you're getting some body, like some shittiness, for lack of a better term. Because we love the shittiness.
We do.
It's a really strange tone on a kick, and it sounds really nice. Yeah, that's interesting.
That's fun. That's super fun. Never done that.
It is a thing that...
No, but I like that vibe.
It is a good little trick to have in your back pocket. It probably doesn't work every single time. But
right.
the nice thing about it is one of the issues with kicks is it's really easy to have a kick that is really like mono and clean, and especially for the people like us where we're trying to make our shit sound proper clean. Like I have to go and make my kicks dirtier and weirder because you don't want it to be that clean, really.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the
All the
weirdest
time.
thing you learn as like being the kind of artist who wants to do the hyper clean route. And like you think that like the cleaner things are, the better. That was the fucking hardest concept for me to grasp for so long.
It's like
It's
clean
just-
isn't clean.
Yeah, clean
Right.
isn't clean.
But once you figure it out and you
It's distinct.
and you start
Yeah.
like fucking shit up, your productions just
Crazy.
start elevating. You're
Crazy.
like,
Yep.
all I did was detune a couple things
Yeah.
and like slightly put things off grid.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, it sounds like a fucking
Separating
legit
things
track.
in the mix. What do you know?
Yeah, weird. There's like, yeah,
Yeah.
You know, like giving the frequencies room to breathe. You
right.
like take one thing, make it off key, slightly detuned, and all of a sudden it's in a different spot than the thing that it was sitting next to before, and it is easier to hear because there's room in that area.
Yeah, it's pretty bizarre.
Right.
Yeah,
But it makes perfect sense though. Like, yeah, you give everything like without any EQing or any sort of like processing or anything. You just use time to your advantage and the way things are hitting.
Right.
And you have a super clean mix, and it's the weirdest thing. Maybe not super clean, but
Right, 'cause-
it's instantly just a little bit more clean and more organic, and then it swings a little bit more.
Right at that point, what is clean? Like,
And then also what is
like-
clean. Actually, do you remember? I think like the third podcast we ever did, this was one of the first questions we brought up. Like, what is clean and what is the cleanest thing you could ever do? And I think it was with John, and I think we came to the conclusion that like a sine wave ultimately is the most clean thing you could ever do for a song.
I suppose.
Right? But it's also just the most boring because no one wants to hear a sine wave for 3 minutes. Like, that's dumb. I'm meditating.
But at the
dude.
same point, is that like clean in terms of like a mix? Like when you just hear a dope mix that you're like, fuck, that mix was so clean.
That's true.
like,
That's a very
It
different
doesn't
thing.
have mud, so there's detail oriented
Right.
around
right.
the low mids, and then the highs aren't harsh; they're crispy. So there's detail from like 2K to 11K.
It's typically not cluttered instrument-wise or sound choice.
Right.
wise,
So there's detail in
which
the
makes it easier also.
detail in the placement of things, left and right.
Oh,
front,
yeah.
back,
Stereo play.
top, down. So there's all these things you can use in a mix to like clean it, but you can still have shit like detuned everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that has nothing to do, and that's really where the sauce is when you have shit like slightly detuned from one another. Like there's some humanality in it, and there's some like the idea of sample degradation. Like when you hear like an old track like from a cassette tape, it's got, color and character because of the process of it.
Right.
So that alone makes it feel fiber. Same with a vinyl. Like, it's the cleanest you can hear it, but it's the whole time. You're like, this is a weird oxymoron. Like, if you have super hi-fi speakers and a really nice record player, like, you're technically playing at the highest fidelity possible, but there's background noise. Mm-hmm. So it's just something to keep in your mind.
It's why we add noise.
Yep.
To our tunes.
Yeah.
Just background noise to the tunes, because you need it to emulate like there being atmosphere around, or electronics being used, or whatever the thing is.
A speaker
puts
sitting
you in a place
perfectly still, like silence, doesn't actually exist. The air is always pushing around and moving. There's frequencies coming through the air and shit. So you need like that little bit of stagnant for the speaker cone to constantly come back to.
Yeah.
So it's never starting from true zero, which we've talked about this before on the pod.
Got to keep the life there, the energy there, just a little bit.
So it's ready to pop. That fucking kick drum.
It would be fun to like just put a really, 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 really like small amount of wow on the master all the time.
Just so it's so subtly different.
Just slightly detuning.
Just a little detune here and there on random. Like, it would probably pull the mix right together.
Right.
Because
of course.
How fast
it
do you
just
think you do it?
Yeah, it's just glue at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pulling everything together.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be super
all
cool.
is one now.
I feel like
It's not bad. I know.
you'd want it to be
it's
like
not a bad move at all.
on the slower side for sure, like a long slow boy.
Right.
But like, at what point is it just too slow, where it's like almost not even having an effect?
The thing is, you don't want it you want it slow, but not too slow for that reason. But you also don't want it detuning a lot. Like, you need a detuning sense.
Here's my master, guys.
Scent.
Well, not that, not speed. You don't want it doing this. You want it like barely just bringing it. Like, it's not detuning.
The smallest amount you could possibly.
There's no half
basically.
steps.
Yeah.
It's detuning by like hertz.
Right.
It's going from like 432 to 435, and then 432.
Shut up,
Yeah.
432.
Like, like it's not doing a lot.
Hertz guitarist.
Yeah. Where's he at? Also, wait, I wanted to comment on this. EHL Music said, definition of clean, entry 1 of 4, is free from dirt or pollution.
Thank you for that, L.
So how much fun
this
is
guy
it?
actually went and looked up the definition
Fucking
of clean.
legend.
Big
Can we
ups.
make some noise for him?
I really wish we could see 1B, 1C, 1B.
Yeah, let me pull up the others. I'm just
'Cause
curious.
That one
but-
didn't fit
but also-
my world very well.
How funny is it, like, instead of thinking about a song as like muddy or something, you think about it as polluted.
Right.
This
This shit is polluted.
Dude, that's just
bruv.
polluted.
Bruv.
shit polluted, man.
It's polluted, man.
Another
I
thing he
love
said.
that.
Polluted.
It's polluted.
It's easy to confuse clean with sterile, which that is huge.
Yes.
Oh, we talked about that like 4 weeks ago. Yeah.
The
That was a great one.
which is kind of what we're talking about right now.
Sterile.
Like,
Yeah,
you don't want it
totally.
sterile. Clean can still be dirty. Sterile cannot.
Sterile
Right.
just sucks.
And by sterile, I mean an initial patch in serum.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is sterile. That's a sterile sound.
Yeah. There's no life. There's no life to it.
Generic says, my kicks... excuse me. Generic says, oh, my kicks are usually quite clean. Pre-master.
Not expecting that.
Processing.
Oh, my kicks.
I love you, bro. Processing, but then after that, they gain some weird resonances, which make them sound more unique and interesting. And
Well, yeah, because you have a vocoder on it, you psycho.
my claps are wide.
Ooh.
So with the kicks, they so feel more impactful if they aren't very loud. Oh, I almost went back to Irish.
Yeah, I know. I heard that.
Yeah, that sounds crazy.
What was the question? Was there a question? Or he was stating.
I don't know, but
his kick
Vapor Crew
resonance.
says, yes, the old psychedelic rock master chain. Hey.
Right. Exactly.
That's totally what the wobble of the master is.
So funny.
Right.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it on
I'm
track
too.
soon.
Yeah, let's start doing it.
What? one thing that I'm thinking though with it is it going to bump the BPM slightly as it goes along? I guess if it's pitch directed, it shouldn't.
I feel like it shouldn't.
If it was trying to act like a tape, which might even be better,
that would be
it
kind of
would
cool. Yeah.
fuck with the tempo slightly.
Is there a plugin that does like BPM wobble like that, like a tape would?
People do like a tape.
I mean,
Like a time
tape
wobble.
effect on their master all the time.
I just
Is
got
that a thing?
I just
Yeah.
got a new tape effect thing from Slate Digital.
with
Slate.
Shout out UBK Happy Fun Time Hour.
That's right. Sure.
And I haven't fucked with it yet. That you guys just bringing it up prompted it, and I'll have to see if it has like a time thing on it.
See if it has like
Yeah.
a mastering preset and look at what it's doing.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
I bet there's like all
Definitely
the
some
time when
wow.
I've watched like these like like the
Pros,
old school like mixing engineer guys, whatever it is, like fucking what are some music producers?
Pensado.
Rick Rubin.
Rubin. Yeah.
Rubin.
Yeah. Fucking Sheps.
Yeah.
They do talk about that kind of thing. They'll be like, yeah, then I've got like a little tape for some saturation, and I always thought in my head, saturation.
I know, right? Right?
But what if?
But
there's
now
more?
I'm thinking maybe it's not just saturation on that.
Yeah.
It probably is doing a slight
Some
pitch
wobbles.
thing.
Yeah. Guys, we're
Mine's
figuring
getting
shit
blown-
out tonight.
Blowing our own minds here today, guys.
Right? I know, right? I love when that happens. We all got some homework. We got some beat work. No, I don't like the term homework. That's shitty. We got
L is giving us
something like that.
another definition here. Relatively free, which is key. Relatively free from error or blemish.
Wow.
Colon,
Clear.
clear. I want a clear colon.
Wow.
I
so
want a clear colon.
even the definition of clean, it doesn't mean you can be like perfectly hyper clean. There's still a little bit of
Right.
blemish
Right. Well,
in there.
humans aren't perfect, so we can't have. And at that
Yeah,
point,
our world is not
like this is clean, but it's
it's
not
not.
sterile.
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
You know.
And even like the air is clear, but at the same time it's not, because like if you look like way into the distance, there's a bit of a like
right.
volume
It's not sterile. Yeah.
yeah, it starts to fog up a little bit no matter how clear the city or whatever.
Oh yeah.
There's
big
just-
time.
Florence,
There's just shit everywhere.
he's clean,
Florence is clean as fuck,
but he's not sterile.
but he's not sterile.
But boy, be clean. You know what I'm saying?
Shit, bro. Shout out Florence. Dude.
Florence is clean.
Damn, chill,
bruh.
Florence. Chill, bro.
Hey, calm down. You don't have to be mad. It's
Hey,
just beer.
We're just chilling, dude. He's got such angst on him.
I know he's an angsty
Um,
boy. He's still a teenager, so he'll get out of it.
Well, before the show hits the road,
Oh, is it about that time? Holy
dude, we're
shit.
cruising. This pod is cruising.
Yeah, good lord.
Cruising, fucking.
I have something that I want to bring up, and chat.
Alright.
Feel free to chime in on this. I think this is cool.
Chime in on this, Chad.
Hey, Chad, chime in on
Hey,
this.
Chad.
Come on, Chad.
So I was listening to a interview with Kirk Hammett. Shout out anybody who knows
yeah.
who that is.
Who dat?
The lead guitarist of Metallica.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Um,
You were talking about that earlier.
And
You said that
he,
like. Sorry, God.
no, it's all right. He brought up this thing, and he said, quote, basically, you have to make it a lifestyle to have your success in it. And there's a couple caveats to that. Have to make it a lifestyle, like whatever you're trying to do, whether you're trying to be a guitar player, like his case, in a metal band, always wore black, long hair, practice 12 hours a day. Metal guitar was his life. That was his lifestyle. Like he legit, when he would go to a store, people would be like, oh, he's a metal guy. That's like his thing. You know, you see
He's
these...
Vibing out metal.
Right. There's a guy
Guitar.
on TikTok
That's right.
who's this
Yeah.
weird Scandinavian guy with small
Yeah.
little glasses. And he'll be doing a random thing, and then something will make a sound. And he'll be like, oh, and he'll make a drum and bass track out of it. And like the whole TikTok is like, it is him. Like his whole life revolves around that. And like how important that is for you to like actually make it a lifestyle. Like some people say like, oh, you don't have to. to like be successful. I disagree, and so does Kirk. You kind of have to make it your whole thing. Like, we're producers. That's all we talk about. We hang out with producers.
Dude.
We rarely associate with people who aren't producers, not for lack of anything else other than
they're boring.
Yeah, there's just nothing to talk about.
And this is our lifestyle.
Yeah, this is our lifestyle.
We have all 100% committed hard to this.
This is all we fucking do. What's up, Serene?
Yeah. We committed so hard.
Sheesh.
We all moved in together and turned our basement into a podcast room so we could talk about the thing that we like.
Right.
Love.
It's important for you to envelop yourself wholly and completely into it. Just give yourself over. You look up interviews by your favorite producers. You sit there and watch YouTube videos. Yeah, me too. I fucking love it.
It's so good.
I love getting fucking deep into like other, even not musicians.
Yeah, just interesting artistic people.
Yeah, just art, just artistic shit. It's just fucking the art. The artist's brain is the coolest fucking thing ever.
It's wild.
And like how it makes me feel is enough for me to be obsessed.
Yeah.
And make it a lifestyle. Like I have nothing to talk to or nothing to talk about with my family most of the time. Like if they bring something up that's art oriented or like how's the podcast or whatever,
You
like
school them.
Yeah, / I'll just go. I'll just go on a tangent. I'll just go on a tangent.
Going.
And before I'm even 2 sentences in, they've turned their head.
Yeah.
They don't understand how to relate because their lifestyle isn't anything specific. It's just not, they're not trying to just fucking go full bore at something.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are, you have to make it past being like your identity, past being like the thing you talk about. It is your lifestyle. Like you live it. Somebody should have to or should be able to just look at you and be like, that guy's an artist. That's weird. That guy, only thing he cares about is creating shit.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying I know how what that is, but
yet
I think it's big not only for if you want success in the commercial sense. I think it's important for the success of your brain, like you being satisfied with yourself. I think it's good to be completely obsessed and in it.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just doing little glares at Mo.
Fucking this guy showed up again.
What the fuck, dude?
By this guy, I mean this goddamn legend.
Fart noises in the chat out here, dude.
Fart noises in a chat.
Still that number one.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to be fart noise champion, like you got to be John Daly.
You're gonna have to eat a lot of beans.
Yeah, like you got to wake up drinking Miller Lite, with your golf club next to your bed, and be like, I'm fucking John Daly.
Yeah.
And then you chug the beer on the green or on the fucking
These kids have no
fairway.
idea who that is.
I have no idea.
They'll look it up.
I'll
Check
relate
out
it to
John
Gen Z
Daly.
though. Gen Z, don't worry.
Basically, like you see him get onto the golf course, chugs a beer, and he says, "How many holes is it? And what's the record?" And then he goes and breaks it while he's hammered and old.
Let's do this.
Because he's fucking John Daly.
Yeah. And he rips them.
He fucking rips them.
So the Gen Z version,
Fart noise champion.
because I honestly have no idea who this golfer guy is, but
Dude,
I'm
John
sure
Daly's
he was
the fucking
he got
man.
fucked up.
I'm sure he's a dope person.
He gets fucked up. All he does is drink, and he kicks ass at golf.
Yeah,
It makes
fucking-
no sense.
That's his lifestyle: drinking and golf. And
Yeah.
he's just like, yep,
And
I'm
he-
in harmony.
And everybody's like,
dope.
yeah, that's John Daly, because he lives the lifestyle. They're like, it's the same thing. What's the comedian from the 90s? Fucking killer joke writer, died of heroin. That's like a
Mitch
bunch.
Hedberg.
Mitch Hedberg. He was like his style of jokes. When you looked at him, you were like, this guy. And then you hear him, you're like, yeah, he's fucking hilarious. He looks hilarious. Like, it's, any great you see, you're like, oh, it is their lifestyle.
And they're so
is
dedicated.
To be them.
Yeah.
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 So for this guy, for not the guy you're talking about, but
For Gen Z.
For the Gen Z.
for the Gen Zers
Gen
out there,
Zers.
the people that love him or hate him, Mr. Beast
Yeah,
is the epitome
100%.
of also this.
Yeah.
He went on fucking Rogan and literally could not hold a conversation outside of anything YouTube. He
Right.
just like shut down his brain, was just like, what?
Yep.
What is it? And like and it's like funny and weird to like think about on the outside, but like this kid is like so fucking dedicated to this thing, and we all need to be that.
Right.
Maybe not that extreme. I feel like a little bit
We
of
don't
life
all.
and culture and like
Guess what? All of us aren't going to be like that.
Right.
yeah.
But
And that's why he gets to be who he has gotten to
right.
be.
Right.
That's
Because
a great
Because
point.
he is that.
because other
Yeah.
people didn't do that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
And
a
that's-
great point.
If you want a secret, trying to make it, you know,
Guess what it is?
you might have to be obsessed as fuck.
It's pretty simple when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just obsess.
Grind, baby.
The
It
thing-
becomes your lifestyle.
The thing that gets me to the desk every day is, hurry up. Someone's working harder than you.
yeah, there's a 15-year-old kid making trap.
Yeah, there's
who's
a
putting in
kid-
way more work than you.
There's a kid in Russia, even with all the bullshit happening, who doesn't know how hard it is to sound like Noisia. And he's just sitting there, and he's been sitting there for 2 years trying to sound like Noisia. And he's going to get there without even figuring out. He's just going to work hard enough until he figures it out.
Yep.
And it's not a race. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's what it takes.
Yeah.
Like, you have to full bore,
Yep.
which honestly, in my eyes, I think it's great. Because it's like, oh, there's nothing standing in your way but you. And who knows you better than you?
Yeah. And to L's point of like, I need other things in order
I
to
agree.
feel like, yeah, you do. But you kind of need other things. And when you're doing those other things, you're learning how to get good at them, or you're dialing it, like you're learning something that you can then bring back in to what you already do. Or maybe you're just getting hammered and having a good time with your friends.
But I
That's
don't
okay
think
from here to there. Yeah.
But
I don't
like,
think that inspires
like-
music. But
Yeah.
I would say it inspires music.
I think it
getting hammered
can.
with your friends.
Yeah.
depends.
I think it can.
Are you getting hammered at the club, or are you just getting hammered like...
I
a
mean,
party.
like any kind of random like get together is nice to
Sure.
like
I'm taking
feel
it to an extreme.
energized and blah blah blah. I said getting hammered, which I understand is a negative context. But like I like to play pool, for instance, and I've spent a fuck ton of hours playing pool. You know, and because I know how to do that, I've learned how to learn a thing better than I did before. And before that, I skateboarded or whatever the fucking
Yeah.
random thing was.
Yeah. Dude,
And I was always
skateboarding.
trying to get good at things when I was
Right.
doing them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, totally. Skateboarding for me was a huge one now looking back on it. Because like with skateboarding, like unless you like start to get to the level where you're really good, and even when you're really good, like 99% of the time you're like failing. You're not landing
Right.
the trick if you're like actually like trying
Right.
something new and pushing yourself, you know? It's just fail and fall and slam and eat shit and fail and fail and fail. And then that one time you finally get it and you level up a little
it
bit.
fuels the rest of the times.
Yeah.
It's directly associated with almost every creative endeavor.
Yeah, literally.
You're like painting, and it all turns out like shit until that one that you nailed, or at least nailed to your expectations. And you're like, fuck, now I'm stoked.
Yeah.
Now I get to fail 100 more times
Yep.
for the next level up. And you're
Yeah.
excited.
Yep.
Like you kind of have to work through the failures with the pump you got off the success before to
Yeah.
keep leveling up,
Yeah.
and you just keep going because there's
Yeah.
no end on
Totally.
your own satisfaction, which is beautiful and terrifying.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But it's great.
Yeah.
L over here saying one of his things is he likes coding and he can
Perfect.
make shit for his DAW.
Perfect.
There you go.
You're-
There you go.
That's like a really direct
Yeah,
correlation.
super direct.
But what you're
Yeah.
also doing is you're learning troubleshooting, which
Right.
is one of the only things you have to learn in life is just how to troubleshoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get good at troubleshooting. It is all the things,
It's a great point.
basically.
It's a great point.
For every single thing. It's just a matter of like, all right, that didn't work. What's a good way to do this other thing now?
Right.
Or like, how can I attack this from a different angle that will work maybe? And then eliminating
Right.
ways and figuring out all the best ways and then grouping them together and then using them
Right.
as a system or whatever.
Right. And you can even take this to the fringes, and with like a secondary thing that you can bring back to the table with.
fringe.
Back to the French
The French.
would be like video games.
I don't know that one.
Like we've talked about how the opposite of creativity could be distraction. Like in terms of like the opposite side of the pendulum, and video games are good at distracting you from almost anything else that's happening because you're in the moment so intently, depending on the video game. And without even knowing it, the more you play, you're practicing and you're getting better at playing the video game. And if it's a type of video game where you get rewarded for being better, like if it's competitive play and you see your rank go up or whatever, then all of that subconscious grinding and learning and troubleshooting gets passed on to the rest of it. So you still get to take all these little bits and thought processes back to your creative stuff, which is dope.
Yeah, totally.
Which is cool. Like, obviously,
Strategy.
don't just sit there and play video games for fucking 12 months and then forget your music career. But, like, I play
Highly
video games.
successful people are chess players.
Yeah.
You know? And it
this-
doesn't necessarily need to be chess. It's just
It's a
version of a game.
Yeah, it's a game. Specifically games. Like games
Strategy.
and multiplayer games, I think, are really good.
A like skill and strategy game.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Multiplayer is great. Yeah.
Yeah, because it helps
Person
you
versus
fucking
person.
shut up.
Yeah. You need to get shit on.
You
every
need to
once
get
in a
shit
while.
on.
Yes, and PvP will do that to you.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
my god.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
need to get shit on.
It'll do it to you a lot.
You're really good.
Because
Yeah.
if you don't get shit on in video games, you're going to get shit on in life,
Yeah.
and it's worse.
But it's okay
Yeah, might
because
as well
these
get used
days
to it.
you get
Yeah.
a participation trophy in a little.
Not
what are
in
those
real
little
life.
things called?
Not in real life.
Like,
yeah.
you could
like,
get fucking pulled out of your car and your car's stolen, and you're like, fuck, I just lost.
At least I
That was a big L. I wasn't even aware I was playing a game.
Yep.
Yeah. In real life, Excision is not signing your track.
No.
He's being like,
No.
the fucking shit is this joke?
Dude,
Of a
right?
track.
But it's fine.
Oh my god.
Because you're
fucking-
PvP.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
PvP.
PvP.
When
baby.
you bust a track out, you're PvP.
Yeah.
If someone's got a better track, yours isn't going to be as impressive.
Yeah.
It's true.
Dude, Jaws fucking blew my mind. Mr. House. When I was like my 2-year production, or like 2.5 years, 3 years, like very new still, I was watching some interview with him, and he was saying something like, because he makes that like bass house kind of like festival dance shit, you know? And he was saying like kids will send him tracks all the time and like send it to like his label or whatever label he was a part of at the time. And he got so real. He was like, guys, like, do you honestly think like not only one, we're going to accept your track, but two, like, do you think these big artists are going to be playing out your track live? Like, be real. There's already so many people doing it. And there's already so many people doing it so good. And I remember in the moment being like, oh, what a dick. Like, I'm heartbroken. Like, is there no hope? Like, but like now looking back, it's like he's just kind of being real. It was like a
Right.
tough love kind of thing where it's
Right.
like, don't do the thing that all of us are already doing. Coming back to like a creative influence thing, it's like push the boundary, do something different. I think what he was really trying to say is like stop trying to be the thing you're seeing on the stage and do the next wave of it.
Right.
But he just said it in a little harsh, tough love kind of way.
Right.
But yeah, I remember that fucking like hating me, and I was
Yeah,
just like, Jesus.
That's pretty nasty and good at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
shit's hard to figure out. It's really, really hard to figure out how to get into those upper echelons, into those groups of people.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's just
And-
really hard.
The hardest thing,
Yeah.
is just keep moving.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even being
Yeah.
like, how do I make my mix better? It's like, you will if you just keep moving.
Yeah, just
Which-
keep doing it.
That's
Keep
the
trying.
hardest thing, and like not giving up.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
just don't give up. Just keep going, keep learning, keep wanting to get better.
You'll figure out how art works
You'll figure it out.
eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you think
your brain will start thinking like an artist, and then you'll all of a sudden have better
Right.
ideas.
that's literally how every other artist has done it since the dawn of time. Like, there's no handbook on how to be an artist. Like, there's plenty of other roads that people have paved, but the problem with all of those is they're in fucking 1700s or in the 1980s.
Sure.
A bunch of shit that doesn't work anymore.
Sure.
Like, the landscape is different. So, like, every time there's a time to be an artist, it's a new path being forged. So, like, no matter what, you're gonna have to just forge a path.
Yeah.
Like, you have no choice.
Yep.
And also,
You're
don't
alone.
expect like to hit the highest fucking upper echelon, though.
No.
You know, like of course, like we all have fantasized about oh yeah, I could be a Kanye figure. I could be the fucking biggest XYZ artist kind of person. You know, but there's still you can be like an amazingly talented and influential artist without even people like really knowing you.
Yeah.
Like for instance, I found this guy like 3 days ago. His name is Ash Thorpe. Kind of a weird last name, poor homie. But he's sick. He's so sick. He's the sickest human being. I'm so pumped on him right now.
Sick.
And he makes awesome like visual art and animations and shit like that. And he's worked on like all of these huge movies like Prometheus.
Well, visual artists
and,
nobody knows who they are.
Yeah, that's an even tougher route.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess maybe
tougher.
that's why,
Unless
but-
you're a painter.
Yeah.
Then
Big-
you
No, but he
are
is
known
also
for
a painter. He's like
painting.
anything visual and creative,
Sure.
and he makes like, it does all this
Yeah,
stuff.
you got to be huge.
Yeah,
On those terms, you got to be massive
Yeah.
for anybody to know who the fuck you are.
that's true. With visual
People
stuff, I
don't
guess
give
it's
a
way
fuck. They
different.
buy their art from like
Etsy.
Target.
Yeah.
Or Target. Yeah, even
Marshalls.
worse.
Hobby Lobby.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the point is, you can be huge and influential and work on like amazing things and do really cool things in your life, and not have like many people know
Yeah.
about you.
It should be personal.
do you know how the name is spelled?
Ash Thorpe, ASH, his first name Ash, and then Thorpe, THORP.
Oh, there's no E.
No E,
It's not Thorpe.
not Thorpe. He's cool though. He also has a podcast called The Collective. It's sick. He's crazy, but he's also sick. Oh, Beeple was on it. I was listening to one with Beeple. Apparently, he's
Dope.
homies with Beeple.
Good old Beeple.
Ooh, I'd like to listen to that.
It was a good one.
This
yeah.
is like a local guy or no?
No, he's not local.
Okay, good. Let's
Yeah.
let's let me listen to this podcast.
Yeah, you should check it out.
I wanna know.
He
you
wants to
show
know.
Let's
me?
go.
Speaking of that, guess what, guys?
Guess what time it is?
Tuesday's over, guys.
That's right. We did it. We fucking did it.
Another episode in the Bizank.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks,
Yeah.
L Music, for sneaking out here. Vapor Cruise.
Thanks, guys, for
That's
being
right.
here.
right.
Thanks for those.
We're so happy that
follows.
you're a part of this experience.
You can
And-
find us in Discord.
And the chat's language of
After
royalty.
this, please join the Discord if you're not already in there.
Yeah, exclamation point Discord and chat. If you want to go over there, we're hanging out all the time. You can ask us questions and stuff like that.
Yeah. Also, just because I love this dude and we all love this dude now, the Ghost House is a streamer on Twitch. He's doing his very, very first ever contest. Basically, we have 10 days to flip the stems that he made for a song. It's all 100% him. It's an unreleased thing. And you literally, he said, do whatever the fuck you want with it. So,
yeah,
like,
I already started fucking with it.
yeah,
Nasty.
Caleb Barty is basically done, and he made a slab daddy.
It's been like 3 hours.
It's insane. It's been like 3 hours.
Slap
Machine
daddy.
over here.
Slap daddy.
But yeah, if you guys are some contest folk out there, check out the Ghost House.
Yep.
We can send these peeps over to Travis.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Let's go ahead and
We'll raid Travis real quick.
Yeah,
Our homie.
yeah. This is a good dude. He's been on the podcast a bunch.
Been on the podcast before.
Makes great music. He loves to DJ.
He was on in like the last couple months. Anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't
I
like
am
too long ago.
What else do we got?
I am MTN. MTN, right?
I think that's it.
I am
MTN
MTN official.
Okay.
We were gonna talk about the GoFundMe, the fundraiser to finally get Caleb to take his shirt off, but we can talk about that another time.
No. It's not gonna happen, folks.
You
Look
got
at that
it.
callback.
We should just make a graphic.
I did actually.
Go ahead
nice.
and
Yeah, it's in a TikTok.
uh,
Yeah.
go ahead and give us a follow, sub, all those things, folks. If you like the content, tell your friends about it. We don't promote anything; it's all word of mouth. Go to always400.com. You can find all our stuff from there.
Yes.
Once again, I'm Caleb. This is Dave in Austin.
What's up?
Love you guys. We're gonna send you over to Iron Mountain,
Peace out, y'all. It was fun.
and we're gonna get cruise, folks. We're gonna go work on some beats because it's our lifestyle.
Yeah.
Ooh, I said it. I said it.
Oh, callback.